Hey everyone, let me know if you can hear me. As soon as I get the go ahead that you can hear me, we're gonna kick it right off. So just watching the message there. Loud and clear. Thank you, Tracy, Russ, Simon. All right, let's go. Live from lockdown, episode 70 starts right now. And hey everybody, how you doing? Welcome to episode number 70, live from lockdown. As you guys know, we started this over a year ago when things started locking down. Since then, things have been opening and closing. And I know New Zealand just went into a fresh lockdown. And, you know, it's just different in different parts of the world. And by the way, it's your guys' fault, like, not you guys watching, but someone commented on last week's, a couple of people said, oh, why are you still in lockdown? Well, guess what? You jinxed it. So, anyway, guys, at some point we will change the name of this. But welcome to Live from Lockdown. Today, what we're going to be doing is looking at Photoshop, all my bad jokes aside, of course. Or maybe my bad jokes, or a part of it. But don't worry, when we get into the lesson part and, we skip the jokes. So anyway, for those of you who are regulars, welcome. Good to see you once again. It's been 70 episodes. This is our 70th episode. And there's a ton of you there. I see you there already in the chat. If that chat's not going in the side, you're not live. If it's not 1 p.m. Pacific time, you're the replay crew. So what you want to do is drop a comment in the comment section, and I'll get to that. But that's not a live chat. The live chat is what's happening right now. So anyway, guys, there's been a new drop of Photoshop, and we're going to be looking at the new features in just one moment. So if you guys are new here, welcome. Why don't you just give you guys a shout out there in the chat, and everyone will make you feel welcome because we love to have new people join us. Maybe you're part of the crew, the cafe crew, and maybe you have been just recently. If you are, just say, hey, new member. A member is just basically you're here, you're a member. We don't have a formal membership or anything like that. You can join the mailing list, of course, and I'll send out notifications and let you guys know when these go live. But also, if you've been a member for a long time and maybe this is your first live stream, just also say hi there and you're welcome. And we've got our favorite moderator in the house, Bruce Bicknell. He is in the house and he will be taking care of all your needs, keeping the discussion going nice and whatever, posting in links to whatever, and getting you drinks of whatever you would like to drink. Now, get your orders in. Make sure Bruce grabs those. They might not arrive in a timely fashion. But anyway, guys, are you ready? Let's jump in right now and look at the new features inside of Photoshop. What are we at? 22.5. All right, so let's go to the desktop. And this is where we get serious. So Bruce, if you don't mind dropping a link there into the chat where people can join the mailing list. It's actually just at photoshopcafe.com. You'll see places all over the place there. Fish are friends, not food, Bruce. That's funny. All right, so in case you guys were under a rock, 22.5, and I'm going to put myself in the corner here for a second, just came out just a couple of days ago, and there's some new features, some good things and some bad news. I'm actually going to mention that, so stay tuned, and we're going to look at the good and the bad. So first thing, there's an update. You know, some people are going to say that. Yes, if you go up to the top here, you're going to see your Creative Cloud. Now, if you're a Windows user, you'll see it down the bottom there somewhere. But click on that, and then you're going to see the CC update. This is where you can find the update. If you don't see it yet, what you want to do is just go up the top there and choose check for updates. Don't turn on enable auto updates. I wouldn't, because that's going to update all your apps. And certain things like Premiere Pro, I don't want those to update until I manually update them, because if I'm in the middle of an edit or a major project, same with Photoshop even, although I don't really have those huge problems with Photoshop. But, InDesign especially, because those are different types of documents, so there's compatibility issues. Like you can open a PSD in an earlier version of Photoshop. You can't always open a Premiere Pro in an earlier version, or InDesign, which is why I manually update those. Now you know. All right, so you can choose check for updates, and it's going to ping the cloud, and you'll see this little windows going. And so, because I always get that, like, I don't see an update. And then you go there, and then the update's going to appear. Now, this one here, I'm not going to update it because this is Photoshop CC 2020, I believe. Let's have a look. There it is. Photoshop 2020. Now, I'm going to recommend that you keep an additional version of Photoshop, and we're going to get to that in just a second. I'll explain to you why. So, you will see the update for this one, 22.5, which I've updated already, and you would just click on Update if you haven't. Now, there's some new features and things in here that we're going to look at, but one of the big things is 3D. They're retiring 3D in Photoshop. I don't know if you know that. Lighting effects, filter, vaporware, gone, and some of the other 3D features are coming out. So this is not the version of Photoshop you're going to be wanting to be using for 3D. Now, Adobe's saying, they're recommending that if you want to roll back, because you can only roll back to one version of 22, so we're in 22.5 right now. So either if you're using 3D, you probably don't want to update, let's just say that. If you are, you wait for version 23, which is going to be, historically around about the time of Max. I don't know when it's coming out, but usually every year it comes out around about the time of Max. So that's going to give you a full version of Photoshop, and then you want to keep a previous version so you can have the 3D features. Now, when you're inside of Photoshop, what you're going to do is click on the categories, and then you'll see the Photoshop is in here somewhere, and then you have the ability to not the iPad version. Let me go to the full version of Photoshop. So Photoshop is here, and then you'll see it on there. Let me just go to all apps. That'll be better. So under all apps, you'll see Photoshop 22.5, which is the new one. Or if you click on the little ellipses here, this gives you other versions. So if you're a 3D user, you want to go to an earlier version. I would actually say just go back a bit, and I would roll this all the way back to 22, or even an earlier version of 21. Because I'm running a version of Photoshop 2020, which is the earlier version. Because what happened, let me explain what happened. When they're starting to have things like metal and some of the other technologies involved, they're causing problems with Photoshop with the 3D, which is why it hasn't been so stable. So keep an earlier version of Photoshop. So if you go on there, like notice I've already got it, which is why I would click uninstall. But for you, go back to the earlier version and click install. And then you can actually run those simultaneously. Let me show you. So here's the latest version of Photoshop 2021. And if I wanted to run it with Photoshop 2020, I can launch both of these. Look at this. You can have two versions of Photoshop running simultaneously. Now this is going to give you an advantage in a couple of places. See that? Both of them work. So if I want to be using the 3D tools, use that. Also, if you've got plugins that don't work with Photoshop anymore because of the new updates or the new features, you can keep that old version, which will give you access to those plugins and those features that are getting retired. So these are good things for you guys to know. I know this is an interesting way to start the live stream, but it's probably a good idea, because if you're a big 3D user, I wouldn't update yet. Because if we go up under here, so here we are inside of the latest version of Photoshop now, and I go to the render menu. Well, it looks like lighting effects is still there, but it did say in the note that it's going to be retired, so it may or may not be working. Now, how do I know that note? Because when you go up under the new features in Photoshop and you look on a blog, it actually says that. Now, let's move on to something. Now that we've kind of talked about the 3D and how you're going to do that. And by the way, the other thing you want to do is go under the preferences, and then you'll see the option. You're actually going to go under technology previews, and you're going to be turning on, you're going to deactivate native canvas, and that's another thing you're going to want to do for the 3D version that you're running. So for your photos and everything like that, you're not doing 3D or your plugins and everything are working, don't worry about that. But if you're having issues, those are the way you're going to get around it. So I basically started this with showing you how to fix all the caveats. Now let's look at the exciting new features. Any big comments in there? Anybody? Just drop it in and let me know. Okay, so PhotoMaker says Adobe Product Manager, so they keep 3D text and the 3D lighting going forward, but everything else is toast. Okay, good to know. So there's some interesting information. Now, I don't know if you guys know, but I'm in Photoshop. What does that mean? Well, let me show you. So the first new feature is if we go under Help and we go to the Photoshop Help, instead of going to the Help and seeing the old Help menu, we now get this new Discover panel. And this Discover panel has what's new in Photoshop. Well, we click in here and here's the new tools. Here's some links and stuff, and we're going to look at this and, other things. So one of the things is here, you want to help the Photoshop team make Photoshop better? You can. So there's a Photoshop beta now. So what you want to do is go in there and just click on there and you can join a public beta program. Now that's a little different than the beta program that I've been on for many years. I'm probably not even supposed to talk about it, pre-release. It's different. But this will give you access to some newer features once they've kind of gone through, the other beta team. But it's definitely worth checking out. All right, so discontinued 3D features. We've got all the information there. We'll tell you about that. Legacy, export as, that was already in there. And support for cameras and lenses. So you guys can read that. And that will give you some information. Now, there's other things in here. Hands-on tutorials. So if we click in here, under Discover, we get these hands-on tutorials. And these are quite interesting. So these are interactive. These two here are done by yours truly. So if we click on this to begin it, look, there I am, Colin Smith, blah, blah, blah. You can start the tutorial, and what it's going to do is it's actually going to load in the image and give you on-screen instructions here so you can actually follow along and do the tutorial hands-on. So it actually tells you how to do it. So I actually have 2 tutorials in here. So I am super stoked because this is the first time I've actually had something officially, like now it's actually officially inside of Photoshop. So yay, very fun and exciting. And thank you, Robin, for that. Congratulations. And yeah, so that's something exciting. So yeah, I'm excited. All right, so what else can we do here? So we've got all these tutorials, hands-on tutorials, which are fun. They're guided tutorials, which mean that you do the steps and then it's going to go along. Then there's other resource links. There's a user guide. And notice it just looks a little bit different. So now we have access to the stock and fonts, and different things are here. There's a support community, it's the Adobe forums. User guide launches that and, just goes to our help files. Basically a digital version that disappeared pretty fast. Let me do that again. Basically a digital version of the printed manual, sort of. And yeah, so those are useful things. And of course you can type in a help. So I want things like mask. So now when I type in mask, it says, oh, I can choose the mask tool. So if I click here or I want a filter, I can literally click there and that will take me to that filter. Or it will enable that tool. See that? So it has those abilities. And of course we can do the tutorials that have anything to do with masks. Let me just click on mask again. So it's an intelligent panel that gives you, the tutorials, the tools, all this stuff here to help you with that particular thing. Or I can search mask in stock. So if we go here, it's going to go into Adobe Stock. It's going to launch it in a web browser, of course. And there's masks, different type of masks maybe than what we're expecting. This one here won't protect you very well from COVID, but it's good for your skin. This one here will work well with COVID, but doesn't work very well for cutting out images in Photoshop. Sorry. I told you my jokes would stop, but no, they don't. They just keep rolling out, just like a bad radio station that your radio's stuck on. I'm sorry. All right, so that's the Discover panel. All right, so wow, we're doing German here. Guten Tag, Nico. So hello to Nico from Germany, and I hope I just said something nice and not something rude. I think Tracy's nice, so we're not saying anything bad. All right, continuation of a theme of looking at new features. Sky replacement. If you guys saw the video, I dropped a tutorial this morning at 4 a.m. Pacific time. which looks at sky replacement. Let's just do something fun with it right now. So let's just open this photo here inside of Photoshop. That was from Lightroom. So I don't even know if this is going to work, but this will get us started. So there's a bunch of new presets. So let me just get my face off there, go to the desktop. Now I can happily pick my nose and you guys can see the tools. All right, so if we go up under image, under edit, sky replacement, we're going to see our sky replacement is going to pop open, and this might work, might not. Oh yeah, look at that, actually worked quite well. Different image than I used. Drag that down, you can reposition them, and we'll do a nice sky replacement in a moment. But let's look and see what's new. So under sky, you see this little arrow. We tap on this little arrow and things look normal for a second until we hit the little gear. Now, we can batch import skies. I just want to put my face on here because this is exciting. We can batch import skies. So we can bring in lots, like literally hundreds of skies at once now as collections. And those collections can be saved as a preset, what's known as a sky preset. Now, we can get a bunch of those. Now, of course, I'm giving you those at the vault, photoshopcafe.com/vault, and you can grab those. If you're already subscribed to our newsletter or already on there, just check out our newest newsletter. You'll see a link at the bottom for the vault. Just click on there and you can download the skies. All right, so what we're looking at here is how do we get all these brand new Adobe ones that are just being added? Well, thank you for asking. Get more skies. So when we click on Get More Skies, not more guys, Tracy, more skies, we go in here, and this is going to take us to Adobe Creative Cloud, and we can pick our perfect sky with Adobe Photoshop. All right, that sounds great. Well, what does that mean? That means that we can go in here, even though we have sunsets, we can click on Download. It will download them, and we can download more sunsets. Spectacular. Hell, spectacular. Oh, we love those. Night skies. Very, very excited about this. Skyscapes, Milky Ways. Yes. They're all the rage right now, and I'm excited we can get those. Blue skies. Yeah, we live in California. We always have blue skies. Kidding, there's clouds here. We don't have those. We have just the other stuff, marine layer and fires, unfortunately. And storms. Storms are exciting. So you can download all of those just by simply clicking on download. Now what that's going to do is just going to suck those all into your computer, and wherever your downloads go is where it's going to go. So check out on your browser, under preferences, wherever you set this for your default location for your downloads to go, that's where you're going to find them. So your downloads will be there. All right, once you've downloaded these, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into sky replacement, and then we're going to go and then we're going to choose import skies from images. So when I click on images, I'm just pulling that off my screen because who knows what's going to appear. Go to your folder where you downloaded them. And let me set the location for these. And I'm just getting everything presentable that I can show you guys on here. And then basically you're going to see them, the packs are going to be there, and they're going to be called Sky. All right, so let me just bring this one here. Oh, let me see if I can show you guys a sky. I've already downloaded these. So anyway, they're just going to be showing in here as sky. See those ones there? Right there. Skies, storms, sunsets. Now mine are grayed out because I've already loaded them in. But what you do is you just click on them. You can shift click to select multiple ones. And then once you click import, they're going to show in here. Now the reason mine are grayed out is because I already imported them. Let's go down and see them. So I'm just going to hit cancel on the import. You would have imported yours. And here they are. I'm just going to collapse these so you can see the sets of skies that we have here. There they are. So there's a few dozen of them in here. So you'll see there's the new sunsets. Very exciting. Skies, night skies. I'm excited by these. There's a few of these, like star fields. maybe half a dozen or so. We've got fireworks. Blue skies, we can click on that. We've got some nice blue skies here. These are very useful. The blue skies are incredibly useful. I guess that's why we get so many of them. And then the other one I'm super excited about is storms. Look at these really cool looking storms. Very cool. Is that a tornado? There's lightning. Ooh, there's a tornado. I don't think you're going to get a tornado here, but I don't know. Let's click on it just for fun. And, you know, this should really be not Hawaii. It should be Los Angeles for getting a tornado, because they always do that in the movies. But if we look on here, look at this. We've got these beautiful sunset kind of cool looking ones. We've got auroras. These are the kind of skies, you know, that we're going to use for special effects. I think these are kind of fun. The original ones that kind of came in were very practical. And now we're getting ones that are, you know, a little more fun to play around with. And of course, these are all free there. Someone says something, I love these sky downloads. Here it's okay, hard to get good skies because of the haze, says Tracy. Yeah, and we get that here. I am planning on releasing some more sky packs, by the way. I was actually thinking of going around and shooting a bunch like in super high resolution, which is actually one of the reasons I bought the Sony A1, is to get nice 50 megapixel skies. So stay tuned for those. I have no idea when they're coming, but I have literally been working through a lot of different photos that I can start to release some actual targeted sky packs for you guys. So I'll talk about those later. This looks like somewhere near here. So notice when these skies appear, we've got, you know, things. These are just, you can have other things in the photo. What you want to do is just kind of drag them down so those other things don't appear so much in the photo when you use them. All right, so looking at sky replacement, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to grab the sky. Let's look under the spectacular. We've got a rainbow. That's actually very common in Hawaii. I don't know if you guys have been there. Maybe some of you live there. We will see a ton of rainbows, like all the time. Rainbow capital of the world. I believe it actually is. Oh, so here's a night sky. That looks kind of exciting. So why don't we do a variation of what I did for the tutorial today? So let's go down and make it match a little bit. So one of the things you'll see is once we do this, we can shift the edge. I'm not going to spend a ton of time on this, but notice as we do that, this fade edge will give us the haze. As we move it to the left, it will reduce the haze and just make it fit right in there. The shift edge will also work like that. It'll give us a very, very crisp edge, or it will start to fade it too. Combining these two will give us that. It's not a great cutout there. Maybe we'll clean that up in a second, but I just want to basically show how this works. So the sky adjustment, we can change the temperature if we want to make that sky cooler. Let's do that. Take it to the left, make it darker. Drag that down, make it brighter. Take it to the right. So if you really want that star field to really pop, brighten that up a little bit. Now we want to be saying, okay, what about here where it matches? Okay, well, let's do lighting adjustment. If I take this all the way to the left, notice that it is fading more. So let's just get that there. We don't want it fading onto the building, so let's just bring it down a little bit. Now, color adjustment. As I increase that, decrease it, there's no effect. Increase it, we're getting more of the color of the going in there. Now, remember, when we go on this edge, if we want to lighten it, we use multiply. We use screen here to lighten it, multiply to darken it. So we can play around with that transition. And let's just click OK, and then this is unchanged. You know, we can go in here and just hide that sky altogether. And let me show you, if you want to, if you didn't like that transition, you could literally just go in here and create your own. Let me show you. So we're going to grab our object selection tool, choose select subject. Looks terrible. So Control D, we could literally create our own. Let's grab our quick selection, drag it across here, and you can do your own. So Shift key, actually the Alt or the Option key is going to add. So I chose something quite difficult with these hard edges. It seems to do very, very well for things like mountains and other things. Not so brilliant when it comes to things like hard edges like buildings. So of course I would pick a hard one, but let me show you how I would fix this. So we're going a little bit more kind of in depth here. So if you want to create your own edge, I won't do the whole thing, but I'm just going to grab a little bit of this edge to show you. So what I'm doing is I'm making a selection here. And so if you don't like the way the sky replacement works, you can manually do it this way. Now, that's good enough. So let's just do select, and I'm going to save this selection just so I can show you. Modify, save, select, save selection. All right, so we're going to save that, and we'll just call it skyline. And let me just kind of show you how it works. Okay, so let's go back to the sky. And if we look at it here, we can see, you know, it's not fantastic. And if we option click, we can see the mask. Oh, that's where it fades in here. Okay, so what you can do is choose the mask, grab a white brush, and now this is not going to look amazing, but I just want to, you know, will in places, you know, but I just want to show you. Let's just go in here and just sharpen it up in this area. I just want to show you how you could go in and clean that up yourself. And then hit Command-Shift-I, so we're inversing that. So that's Command-Shift-I, or select inverse. Now we've selected the black. Let's paint with black. And we're going to get hard edges now. So remember this. The rest of this I haven't touched, but remember the center part. Control-D turns off the selection. Let's go back to the image and notice how we've got that very, very hard edge in there. So, you know, you can see there, very, very hard edge. And, you know, it's a little too hard, but I just wanted to show you how you could clean that up. But what we could do is select there and then just choose feather and just soften it a little bit and see how now we can start to blend those edges in a little bit more, a little nicer. There we go. And it's, see that building, just that little bit that I did, you know, looks a lot better than this very, very kind of soft, hazy kind of thing. Now, once again, if you want to make it look better, with that mask selected, you're just going to choose the black. And let's use a hard edge brush. I'm just going to show you how you can manually fix it. So we were grabbing something that looked horrible on purpose. And we can go here with the black. Notice how we're going over the edge. I'm just masking it. Let me just mask that. And then hit X. Now we go to the white. Now with the white, notice how I can select, hold down the shift key, click, now it gives a straight line. And literally you can paint this away if you wanted to, you know, if you wanted to. Like literally go in here and you want to get rid of the haze and everything, you can just do it manually. And literally paint that in exactly how you want. So that mask gives you control. So if you go and you say, hey, I did the sky replacement, it looked horrible, or just go into that mask, modify that mask, and you can get a better sky replacement. So that's how you can kind of do it. All right, so let's grab another sky that is, and then we'll move on from there. Let's just grab something else, and let's see what we've got here. Something maybe a little bit easier to replace the sky. Let's see how something like, I'm just looking for something that I've licensed already from Adobe Stock. So we're looking at Adobe Stock right now, just skimming through some of these. Maybe something like that. Let's have a look at this one. So we choose Edit. I wonder how it's going to go with this. If it's going to see that mountain, we're about to find out. So what I would do is just go under the Edit, Sky Replacement. Let this pop open. And these are in Mountain Valley, huh? Mountain Valley? It's a Mountain Valley. Edit, Sky Replacement. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And it's going to pop in there. You know, that looks weird because obviously we're putting this into a daytime scene. So let's choose something else. Now, of course, we can go through everything that I showed you to darken it and make a nighttime scene, but let's do a different daytime scene. Let's do blue skies. So we want to replace this with the blue skies. See how that works nicely. And why did that look weird before? Because of atmospheric perspective. See, we've got a daytime scene is looking nice. You're going to have to darken those edges if you're going to work with a nighttime scene. So see how we can just quickly replace it. Something a little bit more interesting. That one's not working too well. This one's looking good. So you want to kind of find a sky that's going to work for you. And I'm just going to maybe warm it up a little bit in the color temperature. Boom. And there we go. So that's basically how we're working with the sky replacement. Now, I've got other episodes, as you guys know, where we went way more in depth and I tore these apart and I show you every little feature. Check that out. I think it was a couple of weeks ago on Live from Lockdown, and check out those other tutorials. But let's look at something else. Let's look at something completely different. So another one of the features that I'm kind of excited about is this warp thing. So I'm just going to open this. Let me just edit that. So it means it's just going to, actually I'm opening it in Illustrator. It's a vector. So let's find a shape. What do you guys think will be fun for a shape or something that we can wrap something on? Let's get your guys' suggestions. So drop your suggestion in there. We're going to do something fun and weird with an object. I've got some stuff here that I'm going to do. I'm just loading it up on the second screen right now. But what do you guys want to see me replace the texture or wrap something onto? So this is one of the new things, is the transform warp thing is kind of new. Let's go under photos here and find something. But I'm curious what you guys want to see. So hang on. Let's go here. Photoshop's a little... Oh, there we go. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I'm not even hitting the mouse and it scrolls. It's a little weird. I'm not super crazy about this behavior in the library panel, but it'll work. Okay, so I'm just looking for an object. What do you guys think? You know what? I can definitely drag this out here to show you. Let's open this. Open your document. It says a book. Now, obviously, I can replace this because it's a template, but I'm just going to show you how this works. So we're not going to be clicking on the template. Has anyone got any suggestions yet? Bottle, cool t-shirt logo, hippo, pyramid, beer can, guitar. Oh, Mike. Good to see you, Mike. Mike Freeze is in the house. Mike, video guy. He actually worked for the cafe for a number of years. So a lot of our tutorials, premium tutorials back in the day, he shot those and edited them, my drone tutorials and different things like that. Great guy to work with. So if you guys need any video work, hit up Mike. Okay, so we've got some different things. Someone wanted the hippo. I don't know how that's going to work with the hippo, but let's open this. Apply a pattern. Okay, that's kind of not going to work great. That pattern. We need something a little bit more uniform. All right, let's do this. I've got a bottle in here too. Someone said bottle, so let me search for a bottle. There's a bottle of water. Let's edit that. We'll pop that open. And also, you guys remember the free, I told you guys about the free stock search. So let's click on here, and I'm going to choose a fruit. What kind of fruit are we going to get? Who knows? Let's click. And strawberry, that's going to be difficult. That'll be good. Let's do a difficult one like a strawberry. All right. That gives us a couple of things to play around with. So we've got a bottle, we've got a strawberry. All right, let's see how we go. So what I want to do is I'm going to, and then we'll try the pepper, of course. So let's find a texture that we can use on here. I've got a bunch of textures in here. I actually created a library called textures. Let's see if I can find it. Textures there, overlays. Let's click on there. There we go. All right, so we've got leather. We've got all kinds of things. So let's try a leather background. I have no idea if this is going to work, by the way, guys. All right, so let's just Control-T will enable me to hit free transform, and let's just resize this. So I'm just going to kind of resize it to fit the shape of the strawberry first. And let's make it just a little bit bigger than that strawberry. That works. And I'm just going to right-click to rasterize it. And let's make it a little bigger. So let me just right-click, rasterize. Where are you? Rasterize. There you are. Rasterize layer. Great. I'm just going to go to the desktop, full desktop, and zoom in a little bit. Great. So why don't we grab the selection tool. So the first thing I want to do is just make a quick selection around this. So I'm going to choose the object selection and select the strawberry, choose select subject. Great, now we've got a nice little shape there. So I'm just going to hit Control J, copies that strawberry to a new layer. Now, why did I do this? Because now I can take this leather, and if I Alt or Option click, it's going to put it into that shape. Now it's in the shape, but notice there's no contour. It's just very, very flat. So we want to kind of make it so it wraps around. So what we're going to do is choose the leather background, hit Control T for free transform, right click, and we're going to use warp. Now warp has been with us for a minute. There are a couple of tools that are new in here, by the way. If you go up under the grid, we can choose a 3x3 grid, we can choose a 5x5 grid, and this grid is giving us points. So we can click and drag on these points. Let's do a 3x3. You can do your own custom one, of course, just by clicking custom. You can add whatever you want. We can go in here and we can split it, and we'll look at all of that in just a moment. So when you're in the warp, we actually, under the guide option, this is something I haven't shown you guys before, but let me just quickly show you this. This is new-ish. This is not new as of this week, but you may not be aware of this, but we can change the color of these grids by just going through, and let's always show the mesh. See that mesh there? We can change the color of this mesh, and this kind of just shows us, you don't drag it, but what it does is it just kind of shows you how things are warping if you want that kind of overlay to help you. Change opacity, density if you want to make it more dense. So if you're kind of used to working in 3D, you'll find this overlay quite useful. I'm going to go to something like a yellow and maybe drop the opacity down. There we go. So I can see the mesh there a little bit, but we're not going to be working on the mesh. Now, the way this warp tool works is if you click here, you get a point. See, that point is now selected, and I can drag this point off. So if I wanted to go to the edge here, I can do that. Let's do the same thing over here. Let's drag that to the edge. Now I'm going to drag these down because I want to try to get it to a point in the strawberry there. We don't want it overlapping, so maybe bring it out like that. See what we're doing here? We're just kind of stretching it to fit this shape. Now let's drag it here. We can balloon it out, or you can take that. See what you can do with those individual points? Now we're going to get to the new feature in just a moment. I just want to start doing just the basic shape first. Drag that point, you can pull it out. See what we're doing there? And we're literally just starting to wrap this. Now, when we go here, if we choose this, see you get these double points, so we can start to just warp it like this. Let's do the same thing on this side. We're going to warp it like that. Now, here's another thing you can do. Is I held the shift key and I select, and then I shift, I select, I shift, I select. Now I've got 4 of these selected. And the nice thing about that is, if I decide to pull in, see how I can pinch or bloat this? So I'm literally changing the shape of that now. That's kind of a fun thing to do. Now I want to make this rounded, so I'm going to add a point. So what I'm going to do is go to the middle, holding down Control or Command, and now I've added a point. See how I split that? Control or Command will enable you to split it. If you go close to the edge, we can split it vertically, horizontally, or go in the middle, you can split it in both. Now, if you select this point, once again, we can move these around together. Now, if you want to move this point individually, this is what is new. Go to the middle, hold down Alt or Option and click. And now we can do these points individually. Look at that. That's really useful. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to split this here. And then I'm going to click on these, Alt or Option click, and now I can individually, see that, move these points. Now, the other way you can do it is you can right click, and let's select the point first, right click, and then go down, and we can convert to anchor point. If we convert to an anchor point, notice now it works individually. So this is going to give us a level of control we couldn't get before when we're trying to warp things, because now we can take those individual points. I don't know if any of you guys were wanting that. I know I was. And this is going to enable us to go in here and get these more like what we wanted. Not like that. Is option click to put it back to how it was. Now we can move it all together. See that? So what we're doing now is we are literally going in here now and starting to wrap this around a little bit more. All right. So now you can see how that works. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the enter key to apply it. We're not quite there yet, but now if we go under these blend modes, maybe we can get something kind of fun with the blend mode. And, you know, something like a lighter color. Definitely not a strawberry I would want to eat. It's starting to look a little bit leathery for my taste. But see how we're able to wrap those around there. So we're doing the lighter color. Let me hit Control J. Let's copy it again. And I'll put this one maybe into luminosity mode. Option click. So now we're starting to get more just of that color. And then I want to get rid of that. We can just mask it out. Select that, grab a brush, black brush, and then we can just paint it away. Why is that working? Well, the reason that is working is because we are clipping to that group. So if we mask out that clipping group, now it's going to, you know, just get rid of the areas we're clipping. All right, so, you know, we could go in there. Let me just go to the very top so we can see it. Hit the X key, paint with white where we want to put it back. And we get the general idea. Well, that one looks kind of interesting when we're just using the luminosity. And you could lower the luminosity and just make it more of a leathery strawberry. Not too appetizing, but you can see how it works, right? You know, so it would be the same thing for these kind of things. If we wanted to wrap something, let's take something that's a little easier to see, like something like that. Let me just show you how it would work. Let's drag it to the top. And then what I want to do is hit the V key to move it. And let me just hit Control T. So what we're going to do is, first of all, you're going to just kind of put it in position. So we know we want to kind of put it in position there. Then you're going to find that part of the book. This just makes it easy if we do it this way. Let's find the book. There's the magazine image. Awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to option drag this to the top. We're going to use this as our mask. So remember, we did the same thing before. So what that does, see that? All we're going to do is use that as a mask. Option click, and it's going to snap it to there. See that? Now, obviously, we don't want both sides. You would just mask it out. Grab a layer mask, brush. Start here. Hold down the Shift key. Click in the bottom. All right, so we've got rid of that side. And then I'm just doing this quickly once again to show you. Control T. We're going to choose warp. And notice right now, we've got just that wire. And all we have is like that. So I can just drag this up. See what I'm doing? I'm just dragging it up. We haven't added any points yet. And then if I wanted to split it, now we go in here. Now we split it. We add points. And now we can move this part. Well, we have to put two of those in there, actually. Just like when you do in 3D, when you're literally creating a buffer zone. And now we can move this part independently. Let's split this. Let's just drag one in the middle there so you guys can start to see and see how we can do that. And then just keep adding points for, you know, however you want to use this to warp it to get it to match. Now you put this thin edge here if you wanted to do something like, see what we're doing there. If you want to create a crease, what you would do is, let me show you. Hold down the Shift key, select all these different points here. Let me show you. Then you could drag it if you wanted to create that kind of crease, kind of a look there. And yeah, so there's that crease. You know, so if that's something you wanted to do, of course we didn't need to crease in here, but you want to do it, that's how you're going to do it. All right, so that's the split warp tool. So, you know, look for more tutorials on some of these as we go throughout the week. I'm going to be dropping those kind of things for you guys. Next thing I want to do just really quickly, we are going to... Could have put the steel plate on it. Yeah, definitely. So what I want to show you guys quickly here is some of the things that you guys have submitted this week to the group. So Bruce, if you don't mind, if you're there, Bruce, drop a link to our Facebook group. Let me just grab that because I know Bruce said he had to zip out for just a second, so I'm not sure if that just a second has happened right now or if that's happening later. So let me just open this up in Safari here, and let me just grab a browser window real quick. There we go. And I'm just gonna find this for you guys. Oh, there we go. Bruce got it. Okay, so that group there, guys, that Bruce put the link in there. Go in there and submit your work. And this is where we're gonna showcase it like we are right now. So we're in this showcase section right now. Thank you. Bruce is back. All right, so this was, we're just going to look at some of the stuff you guys have done. So that was Merliah. So today, I think it was today, or yes, today is World Photography Day. World Photography Day. Did you like how I read that phonetically? World Photography. And so he does these beautiful little designs for different things. Love it. Looks nice. The camera is an instrument that teaches people how to see without a camera. Oh, interesting. Okay, so good job. Tony Mule, are you in the house? Tony. So this is one of Tony's. It looks like he did an overlay with the light. I like what you did there with that overlay, Tony. Nice job. And this one here I think is beautiful. Randy. Randy Monteith, are you there? Let us know. This is really cool, you know, where he did the face mask, you know, basically creating textures and overlaying textures over a face, then you hide the face. Well, actually, you hide the face with the masks, these kind of texture masks. Are you there? So Tony Mule used Boris Effects Optics for the overlay. Looks great. Nicely done. And this one here, Randy, I like what he did, and he's got the kind of overlay here. It looks really nice. Good job. It's kind of nice. Dream Queen. Then we've got Bernie Dietrich, Snowy Paris. This would be a great one for Christmas time. We've got the overlay here, the snowy overlay. Torre de Fall, or are you saying it completely wrong? Looks nice. And then we got a tiger. Now the tiger, I think you need to work a little bit on the color here because I feel like the color is not quite matching on the tiger. And also what you want to do is just kind of soften those edges just a little bit, particularly in the bottom here where the feet are going into the ground. And you'll get a better result. But I like your tint there, Bernie. It looks good. Randy Monteith, Queen of the Damned. This is a really cool double exposure effect. Looks really nice. Good job. If you're here, say hi. And let's see what else we've got. Andrew Nichols. Andrew Nichols, are you here? I know you're in LFL a lot. Shield Maiden, this is great from Vikings. I don't know if any of you guys watched Vikings at all, but this is a nice composite. We've got a forest here. Looks like we've got an overlay. We've got a Shield Maiden, which is our Viking warrior female. They call them Shield Maidens. We've got our Viking there. Good job. I like this. I was a big fan of Vikings, so I like what you did. And then we've got Ogres. I like this angel, very kind of this is actually kind of cool. It has that old particular style, you know, when they do like on the Christmas cards. I'm not sure the style there. So, you know, I see that David Holstock recently got Boris Effects. Okay, so here's a quick question for you. Since we're talking about Boris Effects, you know, optics, we did a live stream on it. I heard from them recently. They said, hey, if we want to do another live stream, they wouldn't mind. Is that something you guys are interested in? Are you guys interested in doing another live stream on optics, you know, where we do some other stuff? If so, let me know in the chat there. And if that's something you're interested in, we'll do that. And the nice thing about that is, you know, if we do the live stream, they'll offer us a special discount, and then we can use that discount. In fact, Bruce, do you still have the discount from before? Because some people look like they might be interested in optics. Drop that discount code in there if you remember it. I think it was photoshopCAFE -15, photoshopCAFE -25 or something like that. It was from a while ago. Put that in there and you guys will get the discount. So if you are planning on buying it, that's something to look at. So anyway, so I love this feel here. I like how it's got that Christmas card. You know, I see it, you know, with the trumpet, you know what I'm talking about. You've all seen that, like that angel. I would almost do that. There we go. 25% off. Bruce has just dropped the link and the code there. So it's photoshopCAFE -25. Love this. Love the composite here. Interesting piece. This one here, Franco. He posts quite a lot of these kind of horror inspired. I'm not a huge fan of the horror genre myself, but I know a lot of people love it. And he just does a fantastic job of it. Very creepy. So yeah, if you guys like that, he posts those. Good job. And that's that for those. So looks like we've got 7 minutes left. We've kind of walked through the new features. Watch out, I'm going to drop a couple more tutorials on here where I plan it out and, you know, do the 3-4 minute tutorials like I've been doing. I'll be dropping those. So there's one last thing that we could be doing, and I think you guys know what it is. So here we are, fix my photos. So what I'm doing is I'm looking at some of your photos. Right now I am just restarting Lightroom so I can look at what you guys have submitted this week. I don't even know yet, but if you want to submit your photo for Fix My Photo, what you want to do is go to fixmyphoto.net and then you'll see a link there. In that link, what you can do is just upload your RAW file, preferably, if not your TIFF, JPEG, whatever is the best image that you've got. Upload that there and make sure you put your name in the file name so we know who submitted it, so I can give you a shout out and all that kind of fun stuff. And also, I just see they're uploading right now. And also, no more than 3 submissions per person per week for Fix My Photo. And that is going to be wonderful. So what I'm doing right now is I'm just going in here, Lightroom Classic. Let me just restart it. You guys can't see it because I'm not showing the screen yet. And I will in just a second. I'm just restarting Lightroom Classic for that group so I can start to load them in. So anyway, guys, so if you wanted to upload some of your photos to Fix My Photo, that would be awesome. Let me put you on the screen. So here's Fix My Photo right here. So we are in Lightroom Classic. And here's some photos that have been submitted. I kind of like this. Why don't we look at this one? David Wilson. Are you in the house, David Wilson? If you are, say hello. And what I want to do is expand this. So what I'm doing here is I'm holding down the Alt or the Option key and I'm going to choose Zoom. That way Lightroom's not going to go full screen where it just takes over everything. I'm not a fan of that myself. Alright, so it looks like what I want to do here is I want to just do a little touch on this photograph where we maybe bring out this bird better. Beautifully shot. Love this. Is that a kingfisher? Probably not. Let me know what type of bird that is if you guys know. And so let's just quickly do this. We're not going to spend a lot of time. We're going to go into the develop module. What I want to do is open up these because I feel like, you know, this is a little dark. So if we brighten it up, notice what's happening is we're losing the background. So what we can do is we can brighten it up and then we can compensate by taking the highlights and dragging those down. It's not bad, but if that doesn't get you there, another way we can do this is take the exposure and then we can go to the shadows and open up the shadows. So this is what I like to do. I like to open the shadows a little bit, recover the highlights a little bit, and then maybe just pump the exposure, and then maybe we can go into the whites in this case. I'm going to bump those up a little bit, reduce the blacks, and maybe take the exposure down. So if we look at this before and after, now we're starting to brighten it up, but we're not losing as much of the background because the highlight and shadows are recovery sliders. Notice if we move the highlights, we recover the highlight area, which is this background here, and just open up the shadows a smidge because I want to show the details on this bird, but I don't want to lose everything. But this top part is kind of boring and it just pulls away from the photo. So why don't we recrop this? Now, what I might consider doing is go for something like, let's do a 5x4 because it will work on Instagram. So a 4x5 if it goes that way. And by the way, if you hit the X key, we'll change the orientation. So we want it tall. And let's crop it to an Instagram crop. Now, I want to bring the bird in here. I love this reflection, so I definitely want to make sure we include that. Now, just look at those rule of thirds. Notice it's a little crooked, so we can just drag that and bring it around now. So we got a more level horizon. Now, was the original photo crooked? No. See how the background is now crooked? But when you're looking at the cropped portion, it makes more sense because if you look at it on the left-hand side here, you can see that this was actually at an angle because the river and the bank and everything was at that angle. But sometimes it just doesn't make sense. And so you might want to just break the rules a little bit and crop it. I'm going to use a rule of thirds, just a smidge on this. And the rule of thirds is where you want these areas of interest to fall on the third. Now, they don't have to hit the crosshairs, but you definitely want them a little bit there. And then we crop it. And notice that I've got the subject facing into the photo. Now, I know a lot of the time people will do this and they have the picture facing out of the photo. Let me show you. Like when they crop it, sometimes they go this way. And the problem with this is now you're following the eye of the animal and it's taking you out of the frame. You always want the eyes of the people, the animals, anything facing into the photo. I say always, not all the time because you can break rules, but the basic rule is notice when we're starting in the top here, it's leading the viewer's eye into the photograph here. See how we're being led into the photo, and now it makes us want to look into the photo. Now I feel like let's edit this in Photoshop. So this is what I would do to just kind of maybe do my basic improvements on the simple photo. Now, because we're crazy here and we do fun things, let's put something in the water. I don't know. We want a fish or something maybe. Let's see if we can find a fish. I don't know. Let's just see if we can find something quickly that we can drop in here that the bird is going to be eating. We're going for it. That fish would be kind of cool. Wouldn't make sense, but we could put that in there. It doesn't really matter. Let's just go through here quickly, see what we've got. So this is this free Stock Search Pro, by the way, and all the stock in here is free. So that's a quick way to just kind of look for something we're looking for. Why don't we do that just for grins and giggles? Let's grab this fish here. And looks a little bit, I don't know what type of fish that is. I'm sure somebody knows. Looks a little bit like a John Dory, but it's not a John Dory. Is it I don't know. Who knows what type of fish this is? Somebody's going to tell me it's a specific fish. And I should know that because I am a fisherman. Alright, so what we're going to do here is we're going to cut this out. Was someone about to split and they decided to stay because now we're doing compositing? Well, that's good. Welcome. Glad you could stay. Alright, so what we're doing here is we're going to choose the quick selection and we're just going to use select subject, which is going to get our fish. Sturgeon. Maybe it's a sturgeon. Seems a little shiny for a sturgeon, but I don't know. What do you guys think? Anybody knows? Let me know. So I'm just going to go in here and just choose a feather just to kind of create the edge. Now we could do a much better job of the cutout. Yes, we could. And yes, we should. It was a terrible job, but it's good enough for what we're trying to do quickly. So this technique that I'm doing is going to work the same with a poorly cut out photo as it will with a nicely cut out photo. Maybe we could do it. I feel like we're going very Monty Python all of a sudden. Let's do the fish kind of. We're going to do it coming out of the water. So there's the fish here. We've got our mask. Let's hit B for the brush. And I'm just going to paint out the area of the fish that is going to be cut out. Whoa. I'm getting a little excited there. I'm going to soften that just a little bit. So we're going to go under the hardness, bring it down just a smidge. And let's do a straight line. So if I click, hold down the shift key and click again, it'll create a straight line. Or if I just hold it and then drag. All right. So why don't we do a little bit of this fish coming out of the water? And of course, we're going to have to do a reflection. All right, so the fish is kind of coming out of the water here. You know, we can make it wavy. Actually, why don't we just, this is a great place to use that warp that we were just working on. Remember the warp also works on masks. Control T, right click, and then we're going to choose warp. And we're going to, let's split this. Is it saying it doesn't work on a mask? Don't tell me that. It should work on a mask. Why don't you work on a mask? Let's unlink it. And is that what it's saying? There we go. Right click. Now we're going to choose warp. Boom. Great. And right click. So I'm just, what I'm doing is control clicking just to add these little points in. I'm just going to make a wavy thing. Is this going to work? Who knows? Yeah, there we go. So we got a little bit of a wavy. See how it's a little wavy there? All right. So now what we want is a reflection. So I'm just going to hit Control J to duplicate it. And then what I'm going to do is let's just create this mask. So I'm just going to right click and apply mask. Add mask to selection. Add mask. Come on. Disable mask. Delete. Control D. I want to apply this mask. Apply layer mask. Why is that not showing? Do I have to? That's weird. Normally that should show. Alright, if it doesn't want to do that, that's easy enough. I believe I just drag this into the trash. Nope. I'm just going to rasterize the layer then. So I should right click on here and apply the layer mask with some weird, oh I know why, smart object, duh. Okay, so I'm just going to rasterize the whole thing. Rasterize layer, there we go. Now we can apply the layer mask. Yay! Okay, so Control T. So what we've got here is we've got the copy of it. See that? And I just want to flip this. So that's why I rasterized it. Control T, and we're just going to flip this one vertical. Let's do a copy of our fish. And Control T, I'm going to stretch it a little bit. Let's stretch that. And let's line it up. Control T for free transform. Let's just align that there. So we get a nice mirror image. Sweet. So what I want to do is fade it as it goes away and make it a little bit blurry like it is on here. So why don't we try the blur, filter, blur. And let's see what we can do. We don't want to blur it that much, just a little bit, so it kind of matches the background. Actually, you know what? Motion blur might do that better. So let's choose filter blur and let's do a motion blur. Straight up and down. Yeah, that motion blur is definitely looking. There we go. See how it's matching more of what we've got here. I'm curious of what will it look like horizontal. Better. Yep. So we've got a little bit of our motion blur there. That's looking sweet. And now I'm going to put a mask on here. And what I'm going to do with the mask is we're going to fade it. Let me show you how to fade something. So with the layer mask selected, we're going to be using a black to white layer mask. So I'm just going to drag this down. So see how it's fading away? Now it's too much, right? So we can fix that. So if we go under the mask, then take density, then what we do is we just adjust the density so we're fading it a little bit. See that? So now it's not fading it to transparent, it's just fading it to a little bit more faded. Sweet. Now, let me put both of these into a group because these are not quite matching the color now, and we'll just use curves. So I'm going to go under here, I'm going to apply a curves adjustment, and that curves adjustment is going to apply to that group. Notice how it's affecting everything right now. Hit that little icon there, see that little thing? Now it's only affecting our fish. Reflection. And we want it to affect the whole thing. How do we do that? I'll show you in a second. Let's just take that to the group. Just affect the group there. There we go. See, what I did is I moved it above the group, and now it's affecting the entire group. Okay, so I'm looking at the highlight area, and I'm looking at how much it's kind of flatter here. So we're going to take those shadows, roll them off a little bit. Take the highlights, instead of brightening them, we're bringing them down. Because I'm looking at the lack of contrast on the photo. I'm trying to match it there. Let's play around that mid-tone a little bit. Now let's do color. Let's go to the reds. This is definitely a warmer, less saturated look. So what do we get in the shadows there for the red? A little bit less. Let's do the highlights in the red. Let's go to the blues. Shadows are on the left, highlights are on the right. If we want less, if we want more blue, we pull that way, less goes that way. Let's put a little bit less. And let's go in the highlights, same thing. I'm just trying to match this color by looking at it. And then we go to the greens. We can just kind of dial that in. Not bad. I feel like it's got, like, the contrast is not quite right. So let me, now that I've done these colors, let's fix that contrast. I'm just dragging. You can see the color adjustments still there inside the curve. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the shadow here and just pull it back a little bit. And I'm just looking for the tone that is matching. You can't tell sometimes, so what we do is we apply a black and white adjustment layer. I've showed you this, guys, before. So now we're in black and white. There we go. See how much easier it is to see what's going on now? Okay. Now we're not being distracted by the color. We need blacks. Let's take those darks and make those darks darker. There we go. That matches. Take our highlights. I think that looks better. Hide the black and white. There we go. Now we're matching. There's a little too much color in here, so we'll do a hue saturation adjustment. And then we're just going to take that saturation back just a little bit. There we go. See how we're just kind of starting to match it just for fun. Now you need a ripple in there of some kind. I'm just going to Control J, and I'm just going to copy this water because I might, who knows what I'm going to do to it. I'm just going to go here with the ellipse tool, make a selection around here, and let's choose filter. And let's see if we can get some kind of a ripple. Distort. Now, let's go in here. Now, let's have a look. I don't think the ripple filter is how you get a ripple, by the way. I believe it's a wave. Nope. It's been a minute since I've used these. Distort. Twirl is actually, I believe, how we get the ripple. There we go. Click OK. Control D. See how we're getting that little bit of a ripple around there? We mask that. Grab the brush, and we want to hide that from the background. And see how we're getting just a little bit of that ripple around there. I probably could have done a little stronger with the ripple, but you guys get the idea, right? So, anyway, and of course we could put a splash in here. We got some water. Let's have a look for a splash. There's some splashes. There we go. This is what we want. Let's open this. Let's grab one of these splashes. Let's grab this one. Drag it in. We need to hide the white, so change the blend mode. Kind of liking the overlay. Set levels. And see how that goes. Might actually need to use the blending options to blend if. See how this goes. There we go. Rolling away the whites. Auto option will split that. There we go. Okay, so we got a little bit. We're not going to use the whole thing, but we could just use this a little bit here, drop a little bit of that in there. Maybe put it in front of the fish. Or not. Let me try a different blend mode too. Let's just go to the normal blend mode, because now that we're using our blend if, we don't need everything as much. Yeah, so there we go. We're starting to get there. And then, of course, you know, you could grab another one, put another one over the top. And then for the one over the top here, I'm just going to mask this out. Let's make it 100% opaque. Grab a brush. And let's grab white. And maybe a little, just a little splash here and there. So just a little bit in the front. There we go. Let's zoom in. Get rid of that little bit there. Don't want that there. And see what we're doing here? Just getting rid of that hard edge. Probably go on the other layer and do the same thing. Apply the mask. I don't know, for some reason I just didn't like that bit sticking out there. It looks weird. All right, we're getting there. And of course, the one thing I don't like is the color on there. So let's go on there. I just hit Command-Shift-U to change that color. We're gonna hit colorize. I don't know. Let's see what we got. Just a touch of green in there. I don't know. You guys get the idea. So anyway, so we've kind of got a fish splashing just for fun. Add reflection of the splash. Yeah, good point. We got to do that. There's a splash there. Why don't we grab that splash? There we go. Splish splash. I was taken. Okay. Control J. Control T. Flip vertical. Drag the splash in there. And then we would do the same thing with the splash with the filter blur. Motion blur. Same motion blur. Maybe drop the opacity down on that quite a bit. Yeah, that's alright. It's not great. Blending modes. It's alright. You know, I would probably spend a little bit more time on that. I don't think that splash came out very good at all. Back to the normal blending mode. You know, and then I would just do the same thing with the mask that we did before, just kind of fade it off. But, anyway, that's, I don't like the reflection of that splash. I would probably, you know what I would do? I would grab the clone stamp tool. That's what I would do. And you got to do the bottom splash too, so you got to do both. That's why, probably part of the reason why it looks bad. Control J. Or what I would do, you know what would make more sense? This is probably what I would do, is just get rid of the reflection altogether. Yeah, so this is what I would do, is I would get rid of that reflection altogether. And this is probably how David Holstock would have done it too, right? And then I'm going to right click. Let's convert that to a smart object. Control J. Copies that smart object. Control T. And now we're going to flip this vertical. Why is that not letting me flip that? Right click should flip. Okay. There we go. Flip vertical. There we go. And then just do the same thing we did before, you know, when I created the Control T. Let's stretch it a little bit. Now, this is much easier way to do this. And then we're going to choose the filter blur. Let's do our motion blur. There we go. Add our mask. Apply our gradient, just like we did before. Change density. There we go. Put a little density in there, and now we've got our reflection. Much easier just to do the whole thing all at once. Maybe apply more of a blur. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. So that was Zigzag for Ripple, was saying David. So yeah, I probably could have done better with the Ripple, but anyway, that's live from lockdown for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the new features inside of Photoshop. I hope you also enjoyed the little bit of Fix My Photo. Don't forget, if you want to include your photos, just upload them to fixmyphoto.net. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching. Good to see all the regulars here. Lots and lots of regulars. If you guys are new, do me a favor and do yourself a favor. Hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and then you'll know when I do more live streams and upload more videos. So if you guys are liking this, I did not ask you guys at all, but do me a favor, hit that like button. That's the thumbs up. It helps us with the YouTube algorithm. Otherwise, all the junky videos go to the top if you don't like the video. And I have seen some junky video. I mean, I've seen some really good videos on YouTube too, but I've also seen some junky ones that get to the top because of the algorithm. So if you think this is a good one and it's worthy, smash the like button. All right, let's do just a little bit of shout outs before we go. We're going to be going in a second, but good to see so many regulars here. Pigeon River, Tom, good to see you. PL Photo, Strickland, Tracia, Gigi, good to see you. Russ, Bruce, of course. Chris Bacon, Polka Dot Studios, Hannah, I don't think I can keep up. We've got Stuart Braithwaite, Kiora from New Zealand, Susan Wilson, William Agard, Michael, Daniela, Dana Carr, Cheryl John. We've got Laurie, we've got Zach Multimedia, David Holstock, Orcapest, good to see you, Photo Maker. Lots and lots of regulars. Everybody regulars here. Don Shelley's a regular. Alistair, great to see you again. Lisa Masters, Kim and Joe, thank you for joining us. Lynette, good to see you again. Odd Gear, Don Haynes, Rosie, good to see you. Trisha, thank you. I've only got one decent result with the focal point part. What was the focal point part? Oh, and the neural filters. Yes. That was another thing I forgot to show you guys. While I'm here and doing the shout outs, why don't we do that? Let me just quickly do that. Let's choose this bird here, and we are going to go into the neural filters here, and I'll just show you guys that. Questions, guys, drop them into that questions. So this is the, what do we call this? The afterglow. So we're under the neural filters. And we've got a couple of little enhancements in here. So let's do a blur here. Let's bring it up. Look at this. Now it's nice and big. Let's turn the depth blur on. Beautiful. We can have a depth map now and different resolutions. Let's click to edit the focal distance. So we click on here, and what we can do is we can decrease the amount of blur. That was haze. Increase the amount of blur. Blur strength. Come on, you can do it. Focal range. Okay, I don't see a lot happening here. Let's remove the focal point then. This is... Oh, you know what? Still thinking. I'm way ahead of it. Okay. Needs a second. Okay, there we go. You're thinking. Let's change the focal distance. Maybe this is not a good photo to try and do it with. Yeah, apparently this photo is working so amazing for this. But anyway, I'll look at this more and watch for videos, guys, that I'm going to be dropping in here where we can literally go in here and use the different adjustments. Now, one thing worth looking at is super zoom. I do want to mention this because super zoom at one point enables us to zoom in, would only work on a little section of the photo. So now we can zoom in 2, 4, we can zoom in much bigger now. And what it's going to do is it's actually let's go in even higher, 5 times, 6 times. And what it's going to do is now it's going to enable us to do the entire canvas. So let's wait for this to catch up. So waiting. And we're previewing. So before this would just create that little square. Now we're going to get the entire thing. So what it does is, come on, you can do it. Just watching, still thinking. This is a big process though, to increase the size of this 6 times and rebuild it in AI is quite a big, crazy kind of thing here. And, eventually it'll get there. Okay, so we're going to remove the JPEG artifacts. Let's reduce the noise and sharpen it. Let's do all of that. And what I need to do is click OK, but we can't see it on here because my screen resolution is set too low. So I'm going to just drag it to the other screen here. And once it's processed, click OK. But I think, you know what, that gives you an idea. Maybe we'll do another episode where we'll jump more in. So you can't see the OK button. Screen resolution's too low on here. So anyway, guys, but that's some of the new things that are happening inside of Photoshop. Good to see you all. And you know what? I think I'm out of here. I'll see you guys at the cafe. Once I figure how to get out of here.